Okay, so what we have over here is a location where we'll put the quarantine facility, and we can put in probably 300, 400 cabins.
On the outskirts of Geelong, trucking magnate Lindsay Fox wants to create a purpose-built quarantine facility at his Avalon airport. Justin Giddings is the CEO.
The passengers simply had to walk from there, be processed, and walk straight over here to where the new quarantine facility will be.
The project is still in the planning stage, but Lynn Fox and Avalon Airport believe construction could be completed within months.
So we were first approached to help bring back international students, but it was only recently, just over the last few weeks, where we really thought that this could be a viable alternative for bringing, firstly, stranded Australians who are overseas.
We are going to get on and build a facility. It's just a matter of exactly how big it is.
Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews announced on Tuesday it was all but certain Hotel Quarantine would be packing up and leaving the city.
It would be a cabin-style, village-style environment where there would be fresh air, where there would be not zero risk, but lower risk.
Melbourne Airport is another site under consideration. In a statement, the airport said significant work would need to be undertaken to determine if a facility to the government's standards could be built there. But who pays for it is yet to be figured out.
You've got potential contributions from the private operator, you've got potential contributions from the Victorian government on behalf of taxpayers, and there might even be a contribution from the Commonwealth government, who have responsibility for these matters after all.
Outbreaks from hotel quarantine are the biggest failing in our COVID response route now, and it's a failing for which the Commonwealth, the Prime Minister, is constitutionally responsible. This should be driven by the Commonwealth, and if funds need to be expended on putting in place quarantine facilities that take pressure off our CBDs, the Commonwealth should be paying for that.
The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, on Tuesday said the government would work with Victoria on its proposal, but he was quick to defend hotel quarantine in its current form by citing how other states have overcome breaches in their systems.
In New South Wales, they've operated hotel quarantine at triple the capacity of when Victoria was actually open.
Are you concerned that Victoria, through this announcement today and through the language of Dan Andrews over the past week, that he is shifting away from a preference for hotel quarantine?
Well, that's just not clear yet based on the information that's in front of us.
But a large shift away from using hotels in the quarantine program is what the Victorian Premier is considering.
A centre that would serve to replace, in at least significant measure, maybe not entirely, but in significant part, the work of inner city hotels. But I think we do have to have a proper conversation at a national cabinet level.
While the federal government did not respond to questions about who would pay, in a statement to 7:30 it said states and territories were responsible for managing quarantine under a national cabinet agreement. On Tuesday, 31 guests at the Holiday Inn, Flinders Lane in Melbourne, were moved after a water leak caused damage to some floors. It's one of the hot hotels where confirmed COVID cases are housed. The Holiday Inn is the same hotel chain involved in the recent cluster of 19 cases linked to its Melbourne Airport hotel.
Well, we just don't know what's going to happen with these new strains of COVID. So we're going to need a number of these for quite some time.
Toowoomba Wellcamp Airport in southern Queensland is the proposed site for another purpose-built quarantine facility. Businessman and airport owner John Wagner wants to build a 1,000-room facility that guests can get to within 4 minutes of disembarking from their flight.
Every unit would have its own air conditioning system, there'd be no hallways, all the staff who worked on site would live on site.
He thinks the first 500 rooms could be built within 6 weeks.
Well, the next stage is to work out how it would be run, how people would come and go, how they would be treated, whether they're treated on site if they get sick. This first bit is to work out whether it's actually financially viable for everyone.
The hotel industry defends its track record on quarantine and says its members are copping all the bad publicity when outbreaks occur.
I'm yet to see a case where hotels themselves are at fault. It's typically because of the contracting services that are being used that have caused the outbreak. The program has worked extremely effectively in keeping Australians safe. It's only in a very small number of situations. So there's no need to overhaul the entire system, but we need to continue to refine it.
But private proposals keep coming. Businesses see money to be made by building these sites, but they're remaining tight-lipped on the financial benefits.
That's certainly commercial in confidence, and we don't disclose turnovers or profit margins or anything to anyone. If it's not profitable, it's not sustainable.
Well, really, the benefits are just getting the industry back up and running. I mean, that's what we really want. We run an airport. We haven't had flights for 9 months, and we've just become an international airport too, and we really want to get that going.
But some experts have raised concerns about private quarantine facilities.
I think it's very important that the health department, emergency services like the police are on site and have overall control of the site. That doesn't mean you can't have private contractors and private facilities, but it's the governance and control and supervision that are vital. And that means you can't contract out or privatise the whole episode.
After hotel outbreaks in major cities across the country, there's widespread agreement that something has to change.
You heard some stories about people coming back into quarantine and, some of the mental angst they've suffered. We don't want to see that, and nobody does. So the sooner we get through this, the better.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.